Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial as reported by Inner City Press. Millions have watched Ashton Kutcher play the charming prankster, the goofy heartthrob, or the savvy tech investor, but on a humid spring morning in a Manhattan courtroom, that same man stepped forward not as a celebrity but as a witness in one of the most disturbing celebrity trials in modern history, with Sean Diddy Combs facing a sweeping list of charges ranging from sex trafficking to organized abuse. Kutcher, once a member of Diddy's infamous Hollywood rap pack, had no choice but to take the stand. The silence filled the room, and then Ashton spoke. What followed left the court stunned. Kutcher wasn't just there to distance himself from Diddy, he was there to reveal something nobody expected: a shocking revelation, a betrayal, and a secret that could change everything. This was the moment Ashton Kutcher became a witness, the day he finally broke his silence. The courtroom was tense, more than usual, even for a trial already drowning in scandal. But when Ashton Kutcher was called to the stand on day 9 of the case against Sean Diddy Combs, everything changed. There was a different kind of silence. This wasn't a red carpet entrance. It was a walk of reckoning. Kutcher didn't look like a Hollywood star. He looked like a man in a corner. Tight tie, damp forehead, eyes scanning for a way out that didn't exist. Because for the first time, he wasn't acting. He was under oath. For weeks, media had speculated his name might surface. Old photos, business ties, wild nights. Everything came back when Diddy was arrested. Ashton's PR team scrambled, but no spin could erase what the prosecution had uncovered. Kutcher's name was everywhere. In messages, in security logs, in payments, and most damning, on videos seized from inside Diddy's mansion. Ashton Kutcher, the prosecutor said, "Do you recognize this image?" Kutcher glanced at the screen. Grainy footage. But it was him, shirt undone, drink in hand, laughing in a low-lit room. Faces around him were blurred. "I do," he replied. That was Diddy's white party. 2009. And with that, the cracks in Kutcher's public image started to show. He spoke carefully, but the tremble in his voice betrayed him. "I was friends with him," he said. "I looked up to him. But there were things I saw. Things I ignored." He described how the so-called new Hollywood rat pack was formed. Diddy, Danny Masterson, Wilmer Valderrama. At first, it was parties. Then it was partnerships. Then, something else. There was a shift, Ashton said. It went from private events to what I'd call curated experiences. And I didn't ask enough questions. "Did you ever witness criminal behavior?" the prosecutor asked. Kutcher paused. "I didn't know what I was seeing at the time," he said. "That's what I told myself. But I know better now." He explained how Diddy had people working behind the scenes, taking phones, directing guests, collecting NDAs. Even he had signed them, multiple ones over the years. "I thought it was just normal," he said. "Everyone did it." Then came the recordings. The court played audio from a 2013 party at Diddy's estate. Laughter. Music. Then Ashton's voice. "I don't think we should be filming this." Another voice. "Relax. It's all taken care of. They already signed." The prosecutor asked, "What were you referring to?" Kutcher looked over at Diddy, who sat stone-faced. "Guests," he answered. "Some were models. Some weren't. But they weren't told what was going to happen. Not really." By the end of his testimony, this wasn't just about Diddy anymore. It was about a system, a culture of silence. And Ashton Kutcher had been part of it. Now he was trying not to be. This wasn't just about what happened behind velvet ropes. It was about what funded it. Ashton Kutcher and Sean Diddy Combs had built a lifestyle. One that blurred the lines between fame, power, and money. Kutcher had long been praised as a savvy investor. From early tech startups to multi-million-dollar VC deals. He was Hollywood's golden bridge to Silicon Valley. But as he explained the network behind it all, a pattern started to form. Many of his deals overlapped with names now caught in Diddy's scandal. In 2009, I started getting involved in more than just entertainment, he said. I was introduced to founders, fund managers, and Sean had connections most people didn't. He could open doors that even the biggest venture capitalists couldn't. Kutcher described how Diddy pulled him into a circle of international financiers, brand developers, and nightlife moguls. They didn't just throw parties. They built companies out of them. Branding firms disguised as clubs. Investment groups disguised as lifestyle blogs. It was marketing, surveillance, and recruitment wrapped in luxury. One name came up over and over. An anonymous investor tied to several of Kutcher's ventures. Later discovered to have direct ties to Combs' overseas business arms. Financial records showed large transactions labeled only as consulting or event services. But the destinations of those funds? They aligned with dates of notorious private gatherings. Ashton admitted. There were shell companies he never fully understood. They told me it was to protect intellectual property, he said. But looking back, it was probably to hide who was really funding what. When asked why he didn't dig deeper, Ashton looked down. Because the money was good. Because I didn't want to be the guy who asked too many questions. The prosecution laid out a timeline. From Kutcher's stake in an exclusive downtown LA tech hub, to a nightlife-focused app that folded after receiving millions in suspicious funding. Funding traced back to accounts now frozen by the feds. Kutcher admitted he received updates, but didn't know that the app was selling user data, names, locations, even biometric info. I didn't know, Ashton said, but maybe I should have. He recalled an eerie pitch in 2016, an app designed to connect talent with producers. But one page stood out. Discrete background checks and personality profiling. It made me uncomfortable, he said. I passed on that one. What was being revealed wasn't about parties. It was infrastructure. A machine that blurred the line between entertainment and something much darker. And in the middle of it all were names you'd recognize. Magazine covers. Award shows. But behind the scenes? Checks signed in silence. Over time, Ashton's circle shrank. The new Rat Pack, once a symbol of youthful power, began to fracture. Not just from scandal, but from control. After 2014, things changed, he said. Danny Masterson became more paranoid. Wilmer Valderrama started pulling away. And I started hearing whispers. Not from tabloids. From inside. From people trying to get out. One friend stopped showing up to anything. We thought he was just tired. Then he called me and said, "You know too much. Get out." Ashton started declining events, investments, dinners. And that's when it started. Greenlit projects vanished. PR deals fell through. Calls went unanswered. It felt like I was being quietly frozen out. Then, a chilling moment in 2017, he ran into Diddy at a charity gala. He hugged me. Told me I'd been missing out. And then he said, "You should be careful about what you don't remember." That line stuck. Soon after, a USB drive arrived at his office. No name. No note. Just footage from a 2012 party. Nothing illegal, just humiliating. I got the message. Fear took over. He didn't speak. He didn't fight. He backed away, hoping no one noticed. But someone always did. Every time I pulled away, something happened. A leak. A lawsuit. A hacked email. I was always scrambling to protect my name, my family. But what I couldn't protect was my conscience. He remembered a night in 2018. A call from a friend warning him about an incoming civil suit. They said, "Don't let this get to you. We'll handle it." That's when I realized this wasn't friendship anymore. This was damage control. He began cutting ties, quietly. Moving funds. Rewriting contracts. But the ghost followed. Investors still brought up Diddy's name with reverence. Founders hinted at private funding rounds. And all Ashton could do was smile and nod. "I felt like I was being followed by a shadow I couldn't shake," he said. And the worst part? I helped build it. By 2020, Ashton tried to clean up. Altruistic investments. Wholesome press. A perfect family image. But under the surface, he was running. He wasn't alone. The entertainment world was shifting. The pandemic forced stars into hiding. And the whispers? They got louder. "When I heard about the first raid," Ashton said, "I wasn't surprised. I was relieved." But relief didn't last. Subpoenas. Headlines. Old photos resurfacing. His name back in the mix. And this time, there was no PR team strong enough. He remembered the day federal agents knocked on one of his business properties. Warrant in hand. They wanted archived footage. Emails. Travel logs. I gave them everything. Why didn't he speak earlier? I was scared. Not just of legal fallout, but of how far it reached. Of who it could hurt. Then came the biggest blow, 2023. Footage leaked from a Hamptons party hosted by both Kutcher and Diddy. Not explicit, but clear. Influencers being led into off-limits areas. Ashton caught on camera saying, "Just keep them calm until we start." When that clip dropped, everything changed, he said. That wasn't what it looked like. We were running a branding shoot. Or at least, that's what I was told. But public opinion didn't care. And for a man who built his brand on charm, the fall was brutal. Endorsements gone. Tech partners ghosted. Investment boards scrubbed his name. Even Mila, his wife, was reportedly livid. "She begged me to walk away years ago," he said. "I didn't listen." Now his kids were asking questions. Why people yelled outside their home. Why cameras followed their car. I had to explain things I couldn't even explain to myself. It ended quietly. No explosion. Just a slow, crumbling fall. Brick by brick. Not because of what he did, but because of what he refused to see. And worse, what he refused to stop. Then the courtroom shifted. Because the name Danny Masterson came up. The energy changed instantly. Everyone remembered his conviction. But what they didn't know was how deep his influence ran. "We came up together," Ashton said. "We shared everything. Work. Parties. Investors. They weren't just filming that '70s show. Offset was the real project. Networking. Money. Control. Danny had Scientology. Diddy had music and fashion. Ashton had tech. Together, they created a web. Not of friendship, but of silence. When Danny was first accused, it wasn't just lawyers who got involved. It was favors. Called in from everywhere. He recalled a private dinner in 2017, right before Netflix dropped Masterson from the ranch. Producers. Execs. Diddy's lawyer. But they didn't ask if Danny was innocent. They asked, "How do we keep this quiet?" Documents later revealed Kutcher offered to manage optics. "I thought I was helping a friend," he said. "But I didn't."